Cosa c'è nella padella? Che profumino! Fai assaggiare un pezzettino, ma che bontà, ma che bontà! Ma che cos'è questa robina qua? Ma che bontà, ma che bontà! Ma che gustino questa roba qua? Ma che bontà, ma che bontà! Ma che cos'è questa robina qua? Ma che bontà, ma che bontà! Ma che gustino questa roba qua?
Hi, back here with Foodini in Sorano. I haven't been doing some of the Foodini videos of late, primarily because we've gotten involved with a new project with nom.com, which does live webcasts of food preparation. And I've already done four for them. The first one was in Dominica with Jen, who's the other Foodini member. And the first one I did was on gnocchi and made with the local couscous tuber, which produces a great tasting but also a very beautiful purple gnocchi. Unfortunately, because Nam was still in beta, there were some technical problems, and so although a portion of the video can be seen, it's not terribly good. And the second one we did also in Dominica was on the mango passion fruit wine that I produced there. And we also did, Jen made some barracuda, smoked barracuda, which is very good and goes brilliantly with the mango wine. That came over quite well. That can be seen at nom.com, and I welcome you all to see that. Again, there was a bit of a technical problem, but it overall worked quite well. The third one I did was in Manhattan, visited with some friends, made lobster risotto, and visited, and also went to the Chelsea market where I bought the lobster and was quite amazed at prices because I had just been in Dominica and had made prosciutto wrapped mahi mahi and had been to the local fishery and bought I think it was about $2 a pound for mahi mahi, and then I went into the Chelsea market and it was $24 a pound. So similarly, lobster cost about 10 times as much as well. Anyway, did the lobster risotto, and unfortunately there was a total breakdown on the part of Nam, and so that video was not broadcast, which was a bit disappointing. Travels have continued. I went to England and then Amsterdam and met up with some friends there and had considered making a video because we got together and made gehaktballen, which are Dutch meatballs. But I think fortunately it was better that I didn't arrange to do a nomcast from there, because I then came back to Sorano, where I've been for about a week now, and Sean and I finally got back together, and we were going to do the first of our nomcasts as the original Foodini team, and that was unfortunately a total breakdown again, and so it wasn't broadcast. But what we did was parmigiana, which is an eggplant casserole. But what I did is because it takes so long to make the parmigiana, it takes about 2 hours of food prep, even before the casserole is put in the oven, which is an additional half an hour. I took a series of still photos, which I have, and it occurred to me this morning as I was sitting here with Tirone that I should probably use that as the basis for a Foodini video, and that's precisely what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you the remnants of last night's meal. The 6 of us got together and had an excellent meal from the Parmigiana casserole, and in any event, although the result was disappointing because the nomcast didn't go off, we have the photo evidence, and we're going to make a nice Foodini about that. So here we go.
So now I'm going to reveal how lazy I am. This is what remains of our meal last night. there was a goodly number of us, and that was the Parmigiana. Plates, glasses. We had a goodly amount of wine and followed up with some grappa, so we were all in very good spirits. But now I'm going to go into the kitchen to the stove the wood-burning stove where I prepared the Parmigiana last night. Now, very wisely for the webcast, I decided to make two because we prepared one and had one that was already done. Well, Ross is going to be here in a minute, and I'm going to take the Parmigiana out of the oven now. Fortunately, Timoni is going to have to be disturbed. He's just going to jump right up. I open this up as it's hot, hot, hot. There he goes. It's looking mighty good. That's the leftover Parmigiana from yesterday. Just going to stick it here. Let it cool off a little bit.
Okay, so Ross came for lunch, and we did not make a particularly pretty pair as we gobbled down our meal of leftover Parmigiana, so we're just going to forget about that and go straight to the slide presentation of making the Parmigiana. And I'm here with Sean, and we're going to talk you through it. And what we see here are the basic ingredients to the Parmigiana. We've got 3 melanzane. This is for making one
tray, which
One
will
tray.
feed 6 people,
Precisely.
more or less.
So we need 3 melanzane, and I can't remember what the exact amount of Parmigiana is, which is what it's named for. This is the Parmesan cheese. It's probably about 100 grams, I'd say, in all.
Yeah,
Something like
about.
that. And then we have 3 mozzarelline, which are about a little more than 100 grams each, and they will go on one each on each
One
layer.
each on each layer, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've got some lovely tomato sauce that I made from my tomatoes the previous year in the garden. And that's something that we could do a good nomcast for, or another Foodini is making
Fresh tomato sauce. Yeah.
fresh tomato conserve. And a friend's really spectacular olive oil. Last year was extraordinary.
Very
for olive
good,
oil.
very good year last year. Yes
Yeah.
for wine and yes for oil.
Yeah. And the basilico. And of course, that's not in season right now as it's early April, but you can still get it reasonably fresh. And that's an important aspect of Italian cooking.
It is.
No, the fact that ingredients are fresh and local.
Seasonal. Yeah.
And hopefully local, seasonal, but also of such good quality, which you don't necessarily encounter in cities in the United States or even in England for that matter, or most places. So we're just very fortunate that we have wonderful ingredients. And then there's the salt, which is Malden sea salt, which I particularly like. Of course, there's also frying oil, which is not pictured.
No.
And eggs for the batter and flour. Okay. Next. So here we've gone to we peel the melanzane, which I find it takes away a little bit of bitterness.
It does, and it's sort of it makes them a little bit more softer to eat as well. You don't have the skins that can sometimes be a little bit tough, so it's
Probably easier to digest.
a little bit easier to take the skins off.
And so we slice them into, or that's Sean slicing them into to about 1 centimeter rounds. And the next stage is to salt those rounds, which takes away bitterness, I suppose.
It lets them sweat some of the bitterness out, and they don't need to be sweated for very long, probably about 20 minutes. Yeah.
And here's a picture of them literally sweating.
Sweating away.
It draws out the liquid,
Yeah.
which some people think is quite bitter. And so that's just what we do because what one should do. Okay, and this next picture is just chopping up The garlic, I like to use a lot of garlic. I think in this case we probably used almost a whole head of garlic.
We did actually. We used a lot for the amount of sauce. It was a lot of garlic, but that's nice because it's not that strong.
No.
It's actually a nice sweetness to it, and you do get the garlic flavor, but it's not overpowering.
But I think in the recipe, which I'll provide later, we will suggest 3 or 4 cloves.
Probably.
But go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, yeah.
I use the whole head. Here we are breaking up the eggs for the batter. I've taken these photographs in order of what we were doing, so we just go over to the stove right away and start frying up the garlic, and you can see in that pan that is definitely a head of garlic.
A lot of garlic, but there's plenty of time to do that while the melanzane is sweating away.
And so I also got the tomato sauce going, but back to the melanzane. And here we've actually, although we don't see it, after they've been salted and sat for 20 minutes, we've taken to the sink, or Sean took them to the sink and rinsed them, and then laid them out on that tea cloth to dry. So they need to be nice and dry before they're dipped.
Yeah, it's
in the batter.
important to dry them. Otherwise, the flour you get too much flour on them, and they get a little bit gloopy. So better to dry them off first.
Oh, and there we are back to the stove. I've added the tomato sauce to the garlic. That'll cook for about half an hour. We've started heating the oil, which we'll use for frying the battered melanzane. And here we are with the melanzane, which Sean is actually taking and dropping into the farro flour.
Yeah, farro flour.
In this case.
They just need to be lightly dusted with the flour, and also a good idea is to put a little bit of salt and pepper in the flour as well.
And then they're dipped into the egg and water mixture. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I normally put a little bit of water. There was 3 eggs. I normally put about half a glass of water in the egg mixture. Otherwise, the eggs can be a little bit too thick. So just dilute it down with a little bit of water, not too much.
And here we have the melanzane frying. And they fry for about how long would you say?
Well, do it by eye really, because I mean we're not using a thermometer to check the temperature of the oil, but the oil has to be hot. When you put them in, they should start frying immediately. If they don't start bubbling away, then the oil's too cold. So wait a little bit longer.
And in this case, Sean took a little piece and threw it in the oil, and in fact it wasn't frying. So we waited about another 5 minutes and then started to fry. So you put it in one side, flip it over, and fry the other side. And here they are after they've been removed. It's good to have a nice big platter with paper.
With paper, yeah. Let them drain on some kitchen paper to drain any excess oil off them as well.
And now we're layering.
Assembling the first layer, and we lightly oiled the casserole dish, and then put in the layers of the melanzane. So fill in all the gaps, otherwise the sauce runs through to the bottom.
Yeah, so what Sean did was he sliced up some rounds to make it, fit the bottom of the casserole. Next stage is the tomato sauce, which now it was about a liter of tomato sauce. I think that's what it was, but we only used half of that.
Yeah, we used about half a liter total, but yeah, you spread it over very evenly and not too much. So there's enough in the half a liter to make definitely this tray for 3 layers. Yeah.
And there it is.
There it is, nice and evenly spread over the melanzane.
Next step is one of those mozzarella balls, which Sean is shredding up, and
it's always nicer to do it by hand, I find, rather than chopping it with a knife. I prefer to do it that way, and it doesn't have to be so evenly done, but as long as it's nicely distributed over the layer. But I think tearing it up by hand is a nicer way to do it.
And we do the same with the
With
basilico.
the basil leaves, yeah, you needed 2 or 3 basil leaves for each layer. Just same way, just rip them up in your fingers and place them over the top quite evenly as well.
So that's the first layer. And I think we actually, then we show the Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, important ingredient, namesake of the dish. So a nice layer of freshly grated Parmesan cheese over the top. I do insist on freshly grated as opposed to buying stuff that's already grated, which normally doesn't taste of anything. So this is a much more flavorful result as well.
Well, again, we're lucky we're in
Yeah.
Italy and we're getting fresh Parmesan cheese. But one thing that's important is, I've been told, is to not keep it too long in the fridge or a very
Well, that's
cold
true,
fridge.
actually. Yeah, you should. No cheese should be kept in a fridge. Really, it should be kept in a cold environment, but not so cold.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so that's the extent of our slide presentation, because what we were going to do with the Nomcast was then show the second and third layer. So this is one layer. Then we do another layer exactly the
each
same
repeated.
way, and then a third layer
Yeah,
exactly
all
the same way.
all exactly the same technique for each layer.
And then it goes into a 180 degree Celsius oven and cooks for about half an hour.
Yeah, half an hour up to 40 minutes, depending how crispy you like it on the top. Obviously, we don't want it burning around the edges, but I like it a little bit crispier on the top.
Exactly. And it is, you'll see that it's bubbling. And
Yeah.
it cooks quite quickly. I mean, most of it, the most important part is the melanzane, the eggplant, which we've already cooked.
Yeah, you've already cooked them.
So heating it, we're essentially heating it, making the cheese melt, and that's. But as Sean says, for a crispy top,
a little bit longer.
Yeah.
A little bit longer.
so that's it.
Does?
And we've gone through the process of making the Parmigiana, and I just thought we'd have a chat.
Have a chat.
Very nice.
And a cup of tea.
Ooh.
But we've
But we
already
did-
had the cup of tea.
and
So
we did have our coffee.
We did have a coffee.
And it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful
It's
early
a lovely,
April day.
lovely spring day.
And very sunny. And in fact, forgive me, but I'm just going to bring you to the attention of Her solar-powered Highness. Oops, there it is. Who is approving of the sunny day. And there's the evidence. Sun, blue sky. Does that come up?
Clouds.
Oh, it does. Here we go. Back here. I'm just. I've been taken with the idea of using the computer as a camera, because that's what we've been doing with Nom. Actually.
Well, you have.
Yeah. Well, we tried the other night. Didn't work.
Didn't work. Oh well.
I'm sure Nom will sort itself out.
Technical issues, which we won't go into detail about now.
And the other thing that was a positive is that we've just gone through doing the Parmigiana with slides.
With slides, which is actually very good.
Yeah, I think it works quite well.
It's a good technique.
Let us know if you approve.
Yeah, and makes it easier to choose the exact images. And
Anyway, so we're sitting in my kitchen and plotting some new moves, some new Foodini.
Yeah.
And whether we do more Nom or not is up to Nom.
Well, yeah.
And us.
And us. So the more likes we get, the more we might do it.
On Nom.
And on anything.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
in saying the more people that are interested in us doing it, and obviously it's going to be an incentive for us to do it more.
I agree with you there.
So
start liking us. Let
start
us
liking
know.
us. If you don't like us, then
you can just.
then we're not going to do it.
We're not going to do anymore. So there you are. We've caught up with you after some time. As I said, I was doing the Nom things in Dominica and New York, and tried to do one here, and we'll be back to you again soon enough.
Back shortly. Yeah. It's not like we're not doing anything while we're not here. We're actually been quite busy. So,
yes, we are.
Yeah.
Okay then. Nice
all right,
to see you all.
Good to see you all, and take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
Ma che cosa sarà mai questa robina qua?